Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about, what happens to us in life when we realize that certain, if not all aspects of our life, hopefully not all, but at the very least when some certain aspects of our lives start to go off the rails or aren't going as well as we had hoped they would. Now, if you're watching this video during the current, if you're watching it right now, the current COVID-19 pandemic, which still has its grips. We're still in its grips right now. Maybe you're not. Maybe this is the future. As I think it's a matter of when, not if, when we'll have this virus under control. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But this time now, if you're watching during the pandemic, we're really, any point in life, life is hard in general, but certainly during this pandemic, no one's lives are going great. We've had, among other things, to put plans on hold, for sure. That's been like a general theme with this pandemic, has been putting plans on hold. 2020 was the turn of a decade, and along with it just being a cool number, at least I think it is, it fills people with a lot of hope. New Year's always do that, but especially 2020, I think, felt different. It's not just a new year anymore, but it's a whole new decade. And of course, the virus hit, at least for where I am in the States, and I'd say like end of February, beginning of March is when I think most people at that point were hearing about this, and lockdowns were starting to happen, or at least the word was starting to float around, and things were getting serious. And it's been many, many months since. And I don't know, these things in life prompt me sometimes to think about what happens to us when we become, as I said, acutely aware of when our lives aren't going the way we want them to. It seems to me that when we get to those points of realization, that it's almost like a crisis of some kind, like midlife or quarter life crises, kind of. But they don't have to be that way. I understand why they would be. It's like a wake up moment, and you realize that everything around you in your life you're displeased by, to put it mildly, and things could be better. And you want to take some drastic action, make some drastic, serious change in your life. Sometimes, maybe even most of the times, when you end up doing that, though, you end up making things worse because you have a lot of energy and you're oriented toward action all of a sudden. But you can make things worse in your life by doing that. Sometimes when we're in those more frenzied states, we can, for example, start taking action in all directions without any kind of forethought, any kind of planning or research. Some people are more spontaneous than others. I'm not a super spontaneous person in the sense that I like to do some planning and research before I do, make big changes in my life. Other people aren't like that. But I think to some degree it's good to be like that. It's usually not good to rush into big things that could be potentially life-altering things just headfirst with no forethought. Smaller things in life you can take risks. You know what I mean? The more life-altering an event could be for you, the more planning and research you should probably do. That's probably a good general principle to follow. So when we get to these moments, I think what's very helpful is to calm down first. To calm down, take a few deep breaths, not panic, and come back to where you live. Come back to your apartment. Go back to your home, like to your house, wherever you call home. And why don't you do some cleaning? For me, on Sundays, I like to come back to where I live. I try to make this a weekly habit. I'm doing pretty well. And I come back and I clean and I organize and I take a look at my living environment, which you could say is the most important place that you go. You're here every day and every night, every morning and every night at the very least. It's where you come to sleep. and where you eat and all this stuff. It's a pretty important spot for you in your life. And so even if you are living with other people, like you don't own your entire apartment or house, what about your room? At the very least, you're going to have a room, or even less than that, a section of your room, if you're sharing it with someone else. You're going to have some spot, a room or a slice of room that's yours. This is your one sliver of the universe that is yours. It's your domain, right? This is the place where you have control over. Look at it as your domain or as your castle. And you want to keep it clean. You don't want to have cobwebs in your castle. And you want things to be running smoothly. You want it to be somewhere you can come back and enjoy being, right? You want to be able to, don't you want to be able to enjoy where you live? Like enjoy your room and have an environment that facilitates good sleep, for example. The point I'm making with this, and I've made it before in previous videos, and it's very similar, maybe identical to what Jordan Peterson said, is the importance of cleaning your room. And it's helped me a lot, especially in those moments, which I've had before, when I realized that, I start questioning, the direction I'm taking in my life. You can really get very existential with this. You can really start freaking out. And step number one, as I said, is to relax, to calm yourself before you do anything rash. And second is to come back to your house, come back to your apartment, go back to your room, wherever your domain of life, your domain of control is. Go back there, see what you can clean up. Oftentimes in life, it's the little things we have to start with first. Especially if you see your room, which I think you can make a good argument for it, as an extension of yourself or as an extension of your mind. You're probably not gonna be able to get good sleep or do good work or just generally enjoy being in your room if it's a cluttered mess. And if your room's a cluttered mess, your mind probably is too. You can kind of judge, I think you can judge the contents of someone's mind by the contents of their room, and how orderly they keep their room. You don't have to be obsessive about it, but, pick up the clothes that are on your floor and put them in the laundry and throw away trash that's in the corner of your room that's been there for weeks. I mean, you can do these things. You don't have to take long. You can take 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, come back on a Sunday or whenever and do some cleaning. I've talked about this before in videos because it's very important, and I'm probably going to keep coming back to this from time to time. Partly because I keep realizing its importance, especially, as I said, in those moments, those more existential moments when you feel like everything's crumbling around you. Before you freak out, come back to your room and see what can be cleaned up. See what's in disarray in your room. You don't want chaos in your room. If you have chaos in your room, chances are you have chaos in your mind as well. If you have a chaotic room, you have a chaotic mind. So come back to your room and make it beautiful. Try that. 15 minutes. Tell yourself when you walk in your room, I'm going to spend 15 minutes and make this place beautiful. Or if not beautiful, at least better. And once you do that to your room, you realize that you can do that to your life. Not in big ways. Start out small. I'm a big proponent for starting out small and creating that snowball effect in your life. But start out small. Clean your room, and then maybe you can go and clean your car. Inside and outside your car, fix up your car, if there's something bugging you about your car, and look to what else you can do in your life. There are plenty of things that need fixing. There are plenty of things that are right in front of you. Tasks right in front of you. And sure, there may be things, and there may be plenty of imaginary things that may or may not happen that are further down the line in the future. But what about the things right in front of you in your life? I'm sure you have things that are bugging you on a monthly or weekly or daily basis that you can take care of. I'm sure if you look around your room or just your life in general, you train your mind to look for something in particular, it'll show you. So if you say, let's spend 10 minutes making a list of things that have just been bugging us in our life, your mind's going to show you. Things are going to pop out, you know, like weasels, like out of the ground. They got to pop up and you'll see them. And then you can start fixing them. You can address them first and fix them. If you give yourself some time to think your way through a problem, you can. Your mind will help you. It can be your greatest enemy, but it can also be your best friend. You've heard that before. It's true. So take that time. When it feels like the whole world is crumbling down around you, remind yourself that it isn't. Chances are it isn't. So calm down. And then go back to your room. See what you can do. I guarantee you, there's usually something you could fix up in your room. And once you've finished here with your room, you can move on elsewhere in your life. It's the little things, step after step. You build momentum, you build that snowball effect in your life. And that, I think, is where real change is done. Not in taking sudden, spontaneous, drastic action, but in the small things. Could be the boring things, but the small things that lay the foundation for everything else. So take a deep breath and come back to your room and see what you can fix up. Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to subscribe for more. Hit that like button. Drop me a comment if you like what you're seeing, and drop a comment and suggest what else you would like to hear on the channel moving forward. And with that, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.